Okay. Welcome everybody to a new episode of For the Love of Writing. Wow, it's been a while since I've done this. It feels like a month, but it's been 2 weeks. I'm here today with Ashley Scott, another new author to the podcast. It's great to have you on. And as I always ask, my favorite two questions: how old were you when you started writing, and what got you into it?
Writing seriously or just writing? Because I have written my entire life.
Oh, just writing.
I'll tell you a funny story. There were three of us in elementary school. I mean, of course, there were more than three of us in elementary school, but there was me, my friend Terrace, and my friend and cousin Jan. And we were like the top writing students all the way from first grade all the way up to sixth grade, seventh grade, and eighth grade until we kind of
Oh,
got separated in high school. And we always got the best subjects or topics to write about. And we were always trying to outdo each other. And so from first grade on, I've been writing to outdo my friends, Terrace and Jan. And then
yeah.
later, just things would hit me and I had to write about it. So I've always been writing, but I retired from my actual real life career, if you want to call it that, back in 2020. And it actually gave me the time to really, truly write. And when we get to it, I will talk a little bit more about what the impetus was for my story. So that's
So
when I started writing.
So you're a full-time writer, you're saying?
Sure, we'll go with that. I write between golf and I do some consulting on the side. I do a little bit of grant writing on the side, but for the main part, then yeah, I try to write every day or at least do something every day that has to do with my stories.
Okay. That's pretty cool. I love hearing stuff like that. A lot of people say, oh, they can't find the time or they write a little here and there. I'm happy to hear you write full time pretty much. That's always great to hear. So you said as early as like first grade.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yep.
That's you might be the
Go ahead and say it. You can say the word.
youngest one as far as like I everybody's like, oh, I was 10 or I was 12. First grade. You remind my daughter is just turned 7. You
Mm-hmm.
remind me of her because she is writing stories because when she found out her father has books out on Amazon and then sees my books that I don't want to read, she's like, I want to read book, I want to write books, and then she started writing a kid's story, and
Yes.
it's incredible. So to hear that's awesome. I love hearing that. First grade, that's I love it.
Just
Oh,
encourage it. Just, keep that fire burning in her. So,
yeah,
yeah.
oh, definitely. Um, so what because I don't know exactly what genre from what I read a little bit on your Facebook page. What genre are you in?
I'm writing fantasy, and I want to say this about what I have written and is on Amazon. I have a series of 3 books, and then I also have 3 different journals that I've done. But it's called Cozy Fantasy, and I'm going to be honest with you, I had never heard of cozy fantasy until about 6 months ago. I went, oh, that's what that is. So yeah, that's what I've written. And the books that I actually have on Amazon right now was they were actually done as a side hobby kind of for me as I was working on what I call my heart novel, which is coming out soon, and we can talk more about that when you're ready to talk about it.
Okay. Cozy fantasy.
Right.
The other
And this is just in when I say cozy fantasy, nobody dies. Well, not seriously anyway. they've got a fatal case of death, but they keep coming back from it. They get better. And there's 4 friends in this series that I have that have been cursed. So they have to go to the dragon to get the curse lifted. Now, in order to get the curse lifted, the dragon requires them to fill out paperwork in triplicate, no smudges. And if that doesn't happen, he doesn't eat them. That's just too messy. That would mess with his business. He sends them to the back of the line, and they can't put in another request for their curse being lifted for about another 6 weeks. And I'm a former Fed, and let me tell you, I know paperwork.
Oh, wow. This is new. I've never heard something like this before. This is interesting. So wait a minute. So I just want to make sure I've got it right. You said there is a dragon.
Yes.
Who puts curses on people?
No, he lifts the curses.
Oh,
they
that's
have
right.
to come to him to get the curse lifted.
Okay, so he doesn't put them on people.
No.
He
lifts them.
He lifts curses.
Yes.
That is wow. I love, so that's cozy fantasy.
Cozy fantasy.
I recently heard of cozy mystery.
Exactly. And that is actually when I found out. I went to a cozy mystery readers conference near where I live, and I didn't really know anything about it, but they said that there were going to be authors there and there would be other writers, and I went, oh yeah, sign me up, I'll go. And so when I get there, I realized, they're talking about cozy mystery, and I thought, well, what is that exactly? And it turns out I've read cozy mystery. There's no blood, no guts, nothing like that. It's focused on the solving of the case, whatever that might be. And then it hit me. I went, all right, cozy fantasy. Wow, who knew there was such a thing? So yeah, cozy mystery, cozy fantasy.
You've just done something to my brain. And so I've always been a thriller, like psychological thriller, suspense,
right?
horror. And I've always tried to scare people with my writing,
right?
And I've had a few people on here. I had this one author, R.R. Brita, who she did fantasy, and she had dragons in her stuff.
Okay.
It was either dragons or wizards. I know it was one of the other. I think it was both.
Probably both. Where there's a dragon, there's probably a wizard to go with it somehow.
And when she was telling me about the stuff, I thought to myself, I could see myself reading the kind of stuff, but never writing it, because I don't feel like I write what I know, and I don't know about that stuff.
Right.
But I like this whole cozy mystery and cozy fantasy. And
right.
I don't know what it is, but I've talked to a few authors now, and it's like I want to explore things. And that's mind blowing. So you said they've got these people, they get to the front of the line, and the dragon wants them to sign something.
Yes.
What is it that gets them sent to the back of the line?
Well, if they have not done their paperwork correctly, with no mistakes, on the forms that he has invented. He's invented these forms, so he knows exactly what's supposed to be on them. So if they get to the front of the line and there's smudges where they've marked stuff out and corrected it, he will not accept that.
Oh,
he sends them to the back.
Okay. And
they have to redo it.
Now, you said, I don't know if I heard you wrong. I hope I didn't hear you wrong. You said you used to be a Fed?
I was a federal employee for 21 years.
That is, I could save that for a whole other podcast.
So when you say that you write what you know, I know paperwork.
Yeah. Yes, you do. Wow. Yeah, you do.
Yeah, I know bureaucracy like nobody's business.
Oh, see, that's the one thing about doing the whole author podcast where I'll tell my wife, I'll be like, I'll talk to some people. And I love talking to them about their writing, but I'm like, I also want to talk to them about their day job.
Yeah.
And like their like their career or what they did in the past. And I'm like, but I'm like, how would I swing that to where it's still about writing? But oh, I could just talk for hours to people about it's so much fun.
Yeah, it's that it's kind of mirrors my day job. I mean, for the longest time, I mean, with the advent of computers and stuff as a Fed, we didn't request triplicates, but I do remember a time when I first started my career that they did have to send in forms in triplicate. They did have to send in 5 copies of their proposals and what have you. Paper copies. Oh my word, I hated that. So when we went to computer, we didn't request that many copies anymore. But I started thinking, well, okay, in my book, there's no computers. There might be magic, but there's no computers. So the dragon requires at least 3 copies. One for him, one for his office, and then one for his file.
I love this. Oh, you've left me speechless. No, because I'm thinking about this story and it's like, and now is this a series or is this just one?
No, it
standalone?
is. It is a series, and when I'm not working on what I call my heart novel, I'm going to go back and I'm going to do a 4th story. But there's the first story, which is called Corbin the Persistent, because in this particular book, the main character, Corbin, has been cursed and he can't die. I mean, he does die, but he keeps coming back. So he dies. I mean, something falls on him, he dies. He falls in the river, he dies. You know, he falls off a horse, he dies. And he's tired of it. He wants to either be dead or be alive, one or the other. So that's the first book, is when they all have to go to Smolder Scale, the dragon, to get the curse lifted. And they do. They get the curse lifted. The second book is where they actually go to work for Smolder Scale, because there's somebody in one of his towns where he has set up his accounting business, because he owns an accounting school.
Okay.
That's doing deals that are cheating the townspeople. And he says, that's hurting my reputation. You need to go figure this out and get rid of him. So they do. That's in the second book. The third book, though, I'm going to be really honest with you, is my favorite. It's called Like Father, Like Daughter. And I mentioned that Smolder Scale the Dragon has an accounting school. Well, his daughter has graduated top of her class at her dad's accounting school. And he puts her in charge of one of his offices as a probationary registrar. And he hires Corbin and Company to go to work for her, to watch after her, to make sure she doesn't get in any trouble. And she's very, very good at what she does. But the problem is that she doesn't do it like her dad does. And he gets really upset. In fact, he throws dad tantrums, burns some paperwork, you know, and it just does not turn out well. He wants her to do things his way, and she wants to do things her way. And Corbin and Company has to be the go-between to make him see that she really does know what she's doing, and that he's got to let go. And his wife, she is the only one that he listens to. In fact, he tears out of his daughter's office one day. He goes home and his wife is sitting in his study with a cup of tea. And she says, well, that didn't go very well, did it? Because somebody has already told her what happened. And so they Corbin and Company kind of see this exchange. And one of them kind of leans over and went, well, we know who wears the pants in that family now, don't we? Which they do.
So you've probably already said it, but what's the name of these? The all 3 of them?
Sure. The first one is called Corbin the Persistent because he never dies until the end. Well, he doesn't die at the end, but he gets the curse lifted. The next one is the New Guild because the New Guild is different from the old guild, and the New Guild is trying to cheat people, and Smolder Scale is not like that. And the last one is called Like Father, Like Daughter.
Oh man. It's I wish I could read a book a day. I've always been a slow reader, and I wish I could read a book a day. I'd have so many books read. It's oh, because I want to like, you know what I'm saying, to where you see a cover of a book and it keeps
Yes.
your attention, and then
Yeah.
you start reading it, and a lot of the times it ends up being different than you thought it would be, but
Yes.
in a good way, to where you're like, I
Right.
thought it was going to be this, and I liked it what I thought it was going to be, and then I read it, and it's even better,
Right.
and oh, it's it's something else. I so this is because I know some series just go by like the something series or whatever it is. Does yours have an exact series name or no?
Well, the exact series name, and when I first wrote the first one, I didn't have that one in mind yet. I kept trying to figure out what the series would be. So the series is actually called Corbin and Company: The Audit Chronicles.
Okay. I like that.
Yep.
Audit Chronicles. Okay. That is interesting.
Because I mean, that's what Smolder Scale the Dragon does. I mean, he has paperwork, he audits, he checks things out, you know, and he runs a tight ship when it comes to his office and his paperwork. You don't mess with his paperwork. You can do a lot of things, but you do not smudge that paperwork.
That's what I love about this. Sorry, I totally got to say this because I love it so much. I've had um I've had a guy who I think it was he did tours in Iraq. I had
Mm,
this guy, I think Scott Hatfield on here. I've had now you on here, and you used to be a Fed. I'm pretty sure I don't want to judge them, but I think I might have had somebody on here who either stabbed their husband to death who was abusive,
oh
or
my.
or I don't know, but I think I will say though, I that's what I love about this,
Yeah.
because it's you meet so many people doing these things, and it's like this one guy I had on just the last episode I did. um I can't even remember what he said his job was, but he was just like telling me about the kind of books he writes,
Uh-huh.
and I don't know, it's like I always expect when I like, oh, you're gonna meet another writer, and you always expect something and you get
Right.
something totally different, and it's great. Oh, I love it so much. Like, people, I always tell my wife, I'm like, people don't realize, but there are so many writers out there who
Yes.
don't who you don't know they're a writer because they're not out, with this big
Right.
sign saying I write books for a living. Or,
Yeah, I keep thinking I need to get a T-shirt that says I'm a writer. Please ask me about my books. You know, you see those with I'm a grandmother. Please ask me about my grandchildren. I would do that with my books,
yeah,
but and I keep thinking, nah, that's a little pretentious. I don't think I need to do that.
I I have one, and my wife got it for me. It says I'm the psychotic writer everyone warned you about. But it says it's got it's to where the only part you can really read good is I'm the hot writer everybody warned you about, and the psychotic part,
It's a
the
little
yeah,
tiny.
to where you can barely see it. And then the one I'm wearing right now, it says if you need me, uh I'll be editing. I I've been the one book convention I have been to, which was, oh, there's so much fun. Um somebody put like what was it's like self-published writer established in 2017 or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I always tell my wife, I'm like, I like the writer shirts, but I'm like, I don't want people to think that I'm like trying to shove my books in their faces.
Right,
As
right.
I know I do that enough, just trying to get people to buy them. But yeah,
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's a whole nother conversation, is that you write the book and it comes out, and, and me being a female, I can say this, it's like pushing a baby out.
yeah.
Okay, I'm done. I'm pushed it
Oh,
out. But no, then now you've got 18 more years of raising the child. Well, with a book, now you've got to figure out, what's the marketing strategy? How do I get people to see it? How do I get this in libraries or stores or whatever? You thought the writing was the real work. It's not. it's the
writing
marketing.
the writing's the fun part. The editing is brutal, but it's also the fun part.
Yep.
And the hard part is getting people to actually want to read it.
Right.
Because something I didn't know was going to happen was I put a book out for free in
Mm-hmm.
a PDF form to where people could just click on it on Facebook and read it.
Right.
And I did this thing where I could see how many people read it. And I even said free short story.
Mm-hmm.
And wow, nobody read it. And
Right.
one of my friends who's an author, he told me, he's like, you can tell people, like, please read my books, they're free. And he's like,
Mm-hmm.
you might not get any readers. And he's like, you can even say I'll pay you.
Yep.
And he's
Yep.
like, it's really it's hard to do sometimes.
Yeah.
And like, I'm trying to, I don't know if you have ebooks, but it's not ebooks, audiobooks, like
Right.
audio stuff. I've been looking into doing that, and everybody I talk to is like, they're spending like $500 on it, which,
Oh. Oh,
yeah,
I was quoted 4,500.
I've heard that too. Yep.
Yeah, for the book that's coming out in August, because it's by word. And if they read every word, then I have 87,462, I think, something like that. So that's like 3 cents a word. And it comes out to be about $4,500.
Yeah. Oh, it's nuts.
And I'm like, I don't think I made $4,500 to pay for that.
I told, my wife said to me, she goes, I'm buying you a nice microphone and you're gonna record your own books. And
There you go.
I'm like, I don't know how to edit. And she's like, well, learn how to. She's like,
Uh-huh.
you learned how to write a book.
Yeah,
And
that's
it's
true.
like, yeah, it's true. I'm like, it's because I know a few people who've tried to write books and they're like, I can't finish the book. And
Yeah.
and that's the one thing that I never had an issue with, was finish. Like, once I start writing a book,
Mm-hmm.
I just keep on working on that book until
Right.
it's done. Because I can just get it in my head.
Right.
Do you ever find yourself writing a story and you start losing momentum with it to where, like, you don't know where it's going to go, and then you
Mm-hmm.
get a hot idea in your head,
Yep.
and then you start writing that one instead?
Yep.
That has happened to me a few times. And when it's an idea, like if it's an idea to where I know where it's going and I haven't even started writing it, I'll just like breeze through it. And so it's been a few times where I've stopped mid book, but it's because I had a much better idea and I thought,
Right.
what the hell am I writing?
Right. Well, with this one that that's coming out in August, I started writing it and I put characters in there, and then I realized, okay, I'm doing this wrong, because I shouldn't just be throwing random characters in there. These are characters from his past that will show up later in the story. I mean, I don't know why I mean, that sounds like a no-brainer, but at the time when you're deep into the typing and the writing, it just didn't come to me. And when I went back through it and read it, I went, oh, okay, I know who this character is now. And I know what he's going to do and what's going to happen to him. But there have been times when I was writing in this particular book that I had no idea where the story was going to go. It just kind of did. And I went, oh,
Yep.
okay, I like that.
I love it when the story turns out you had a great idea and you're writing it, and then it turns out better, and it's not the idea you originally went with.
Right.
Oh, I love when that happens.
Yeah, not the story that you thought you were right, that you thought you were writing.
No. Do you I want to know about your writing process. Do you pretty much start from the beginning and work all the way to the end, or because like right now I'm collaborating with somebody on a book, and the way I work is I write from chapter 1 just all the way through,
All the way through
in order. Where with this guy, and I love him to death, but oh, he's driving me. He knows he's driven me a little bit nuts with this. He'll get an idea for something later in the book, and it's fresh in his head, so he'll write it.
Right.
And then we got to find how it works.
Where does this fit?
And it's like a puzzle, and he's really good at making the stuff fit in. But it's to where I'll be writing, and because I'm not the one that made it, I'll have to like work with it. And sometimes it's like I'll sit there for 3 hours just reading the whole thing, and I'm like, I don't know what to do.
Like, I don't know where this goes. I don't know how it fits.
And I'll call him and I'll be like, hey, like I've been reading for a few hours and I don't even know what to do right now. I'm like, my brain just feels so I'm like so mixed up. And it's like you start writing a book, and I do think books are like puzzles where it's sometimes can be very hard to put together.
Right.
What I love is when a character that you didn't mean to make a big character becomes one.
Yes. Yes.
And it's like you had a main character when you started, and that main character at the end of the book is no longer the main character. And it's like, you're like, when did that even happen?
Right. Right.
It's
interesting that you mentioned the process, because I'm kind of like your friend. I start with a story, and the story that I started with for the book that's coming out, and the book that's coming out is called The Queen and the Tom. And there was a story that I wrote in college. It was about a friend of ours, mine and my husband at the time. He was living next door to this house, and the people next door moved out. So he thought, oh, okay, fine. But he kept hearing a cat.
Yeah.
Turns out that they had left the cat locked up in the house and left him there. Just left him there.
Oh.
Yeah. So my friend actually broke one of the windows and got him out, and he gave the cat to us. And so he was our cat for a while. And well, until he passed away. But anyway, the story, it just kind of came to me about how this cat kept going to the window and clawing at the screen, trying to get out, meowing, trying to get somebody to hear him. And the story that I wrote in college was maybe 2 pages, something like that. It was the start, and it starts out with, it's the cat's point of view of he's sitting in the bushes, and he's watching this human come in and out of his house, and the human keeps calling him, tapping on food, things like that, trying to get him to come to him. Why? Because the human didn't really care about the cat to start with. And the cat is hiding from him, but he watches his every move. And one of the paragraphs that I wrote near the end of that story was, he will be the death of me. I can smell my death on him.
Oh.
and I was cleaning something out and I came across that. It was probably 4 or 5 years ago, I guess. Again, I'm not going to tell you when I graduated from college, so quite some time. And I came across it and I started thinking about it and I went, there's a story here. Why does this cat feel like he can smell his death on this human?
Yeah.
And I just started writing from there, and I started writing points of view. And once I actually kind of got the story established, I do the same thing that your friend does. It's like, oh, I've got this great idea. So I've got to write it down, but I don't know where I'm going to put it. And I need to make sure that I can find it again to insert it at the right point. So I did that a lot, and it got moved around. And it took me about I was writing on and off, and it took me about 4 years. Now, it turns out that the cat in the story, there's two cats. And the first cat is a tortie, and she's the one that is from the short story that I wrote. And she runs away from the owner. And so her part of the story is told in her present day when she reaches the feral cat colony.
Yeah.
And what happens after that. The other part of the story is told from my I can say 24-year-old now, my 24-year-old Tabby's point of view. And it alternates. He talks about his life in the past tense, how he got to the place that he is now. And why did he run away to the feral cat colony? He had a home. He had a loving home. Why did he leave? And then there's a point where the stories intersect and it goes forward. And it's about found family. And the tagline that I have is the most important journeys are not the ones that carry you away, but the ones that carry you home.
I like that.
And what I guess is really weird, because at some point, like I say, after I got a few chapters done and I kind of realized where the story was going, I actually wrote the last chapter probably before I even finished chapter 5.
Oh.
I knew how it was going to end. So I had to figure out, how did I take it from there to there and finish it out so that it meshed together.
I wish I could do that. Oh, it's so hard to. Because when I write a book, it's like I know how it's gonna end. A lot of the time, I know how it's gonna end. And I just keep telling myself we're gonna get there eventually.
Right.
And I've probably lost a little bit of idea along the way that I could have written down. And I kind of regret that at times, to where it's like, oh, I had this great idea for it, I forgot what it was.
Right.
The one time where I felt it worked out good. Have you ever written a book and the ending, you felt it needed the ending you gave it, but it was a sad ending?
Yeah. I mean, the ending in this particular book, I don't know if I would call it sad. I'm going to say this, and this is sappy, and I know that it is, and it's stupid, but I'm going to say it anyway, is that every time I read my last chapter of that book, it makes me cry.
I'm not the only one. The last 2 pages of my fourth novel, it just the night I finished writing it, where I knew it was finished, the editor had already gone through everything with me,
right?
And I was like, this is complete. I can officially put it on Amazon. I walked in the living room and I was in tears, and my wife's like, are you okay? And I told her, I'm like, I finished the book. Read the last 2 pages. She read it, and I literally, she's on the couch reading it, puts it down, and I just like fell in her arms and started crying.
Yeah.
And I told her, I was like, you know, the character's gone. And I'm like, and I love that character so much.
Yeah.
And I was like, why is this hurting me so much? And she's like, you started working on the book in 2017.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and she's like, you put out a book while you were working on this book. She's like, then you had a daughter. And then she's like, you took time off from writing, got back into it, had those characters still in your head, then spent 3 years writing it more. And then it was like just even though I hadn't spent so much time on the book, because I had those characters fresh in my head, it was like because I had a really evil character as the main character. And then by the end of the book, I have this like strong female character. She's like, I don't know if you call her the hero, but she just got the like vengeance
Right.
that was needed. And and then it's like the way it ended, it needed the way it ended, the main character, who ended up being a female. It was supposed to be this crazy guy.
Right.
The female main character, she ends up without spoiling it, the way it ends, she's happy in the end, even though it's
Right.
a really sad ending. And it was like I didn't know. It was weird because I wrote the ending twice. In the first ending, she she goes on and decides to write a book about
Right.
what happened to her in my book. And
Right.
then I just deleted that whole last chapter, and I was like, nope, I'm gonna have it end the way I think somebody would really react to something like this. And I'm like, I'm not gonna have her go on to write a book about it, because I'm like, that just, I don't know, it
I don't know.
felt,
That's kind of anticlimactic.
yeah,
You know?
yeah. And I was like, what if she does write a book, but while she's like doing this stuff, she decides that she's not happy with anything. And I told my wife, I said, I'm still going to have her talk about how she's going to write a book because her therapist wants her to like,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
to like journal down for therapy. And that she just decides while writing the stuff, she can't take it. Because the last chapter was going to be going in detail of her talking about her story. And then I was like, I'm going to cut all that out. I'm like, it just doesn't do anything. And it's that's what I love about endings. It's like, I know people who and I don't know if you do this, you write 3 or 4 endings for the same book, and then you pick which one you think is best.
This one I did not do that with. It was like I said, I knew what the ending needed to be, and I wrote that probably after chapter 5. And to be perfectly honest, and this was something that just really got me right here, was that when my editor read my book and was doing the editing, she added 1 word to the very last chapter. Only 1. She did not change anything. She didn't make any suggestions whatsoever. She added 1 word. And to me, I thought that's just a testament to how perfect that ending is for this book. But it was, I started working on the book. Like I say, I found the short story, and then I started working on it, and I worked on and off on it. I probably, I don't know, let's see, 2019, 2020, I started working on it on and off, on and off, on and off. And probably in 2023, I realized that my Tabby wasn't going to be around much longer. And I wanted to finish the first draft of the book while he was still with me. And I finished the first draft of, let's see, in April of last year, and he passed away soon after that. Thing about it is though, he was, I mean, I have had him since he was 6 weeks old. So, you know, the the story is that he's runs away from home. He joins a feral cat colony. He becomes a leader. There's a lot of adventures that go on. He mentors this young tortie that ran away from her human. Lots of things happen, and then I wrap up his storyline. So I wanted to make sure that I finished that first draft before he passed away, and I was able to do that. So I felt like I honored his life. He was such a great cat. He was fantastic. But my editor actually changed the story, which to me was hard to let go of. I mean, she really said, "You've got 2 books right here, and you need to make a decision about how you're going to proceed." And she made some suggestions, and it was hard to let go. Oh, it was so hard to let go. And what I finally ended up doing was taking all of my Tabby's backstory out and putting it in another book. And that's at this point about 35,000 words. So, I mean, I've got the book halfway done already. I just need to fill in the blanks and what have you. So I've got a prequel, if you want to call it that. And then the other thing was the very end of the book. Are you familiar with the book Watership Down?
No.
No, it's about rabbits, wild rabbits, and they go through a lot of adventures. But and the reason that I mention it was because in Watership Down, the warren of rabbits are attacked by another warren of rabbits, and in that particular book, they have to solve their problem by getting rid of that leader who was cruel and was trying to run everything. And in my book, there is a villain cat who is trying to take over the feral cat colony and use it to his purposes. And it bothered me so much to leave that cat as a just evil, cruel villain that I just couldn't do that. I just couldn't do that. Besides, not only that, but the villain cat is named after my daughter's cat, Diego. And he is the sweetest thing. He is so sweet. But I couldn't leave him like that. And so I actually started writing immediately that picks up page 1 picks up immediately from the very last chapter of The Queen and the Tom, and tells his story, and it's his redemption arc, how he becomes a different cat. And it's a slow burn, so to speak. It's not going to be probably as exciting, but I just couldn't leave my villain cat a villain. I just couldn't do it.
I know what you mean there. I am so happy you're a cat person. I've got 3 cats myself.
I have a tortie. She is her name is Pookie Bear, and she represents the female tortie in the book, Kit.
Okay.
And then there's Rudy, who was my 24-year-old tabby. His name was Sir Evan Root Underfoot, because he purred like an Evan Root motor, and he was always under your feet. And then there's Diego, there's Thistle, there's Mueza, who is the healer of the colony, the wise cat, so to speak. And I created a whole language for them called Bastine.
Oh, wow.
I created a mythos. They have this whole religion around Mao, the first cat. And if you look Mao up, that's the Egyptian god for cats. And then there's also Bastet, and that's who they call the Great Mother. So there's a whole religious thing there, their religion, their culture, their mythos, and their language. And it's I'm rather proud of it. I'm rather proud of the book. So
I would be too. That's you created a new language for it. You're the second author, I think, to be on here who's created another language.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, very. I've tried to do that. It's just too much work. So kudos to you for doing that. Wow.
They have curse words for dogs. They have they've got their whole thing, and this was something that my editor helped me with, was like, as you create this language and how they talk about, you know, the things around them, that if they don't have a word for it yet, or they don't know the word, that it would be by the function. So a growler, they call coyotes growlers because that's what they always do, is growl. Fish are swimmers. That's how they know them, because they're in the water fishing, you know, that kind swimming, so to speak. So they have a lot of words that are just theirs alone, because they don't know what else they would be called. It was fun to do that. I mean, I don't have it here with me, but I have it right under my computer at home. There's a little white book. It's about like this. And I put everything that I could learn about a cat in that book. Like, and I sure hope nobody ever searches my YouTube history, because I have a couple of videos bookmarked of cats mating. Because I needed to really see the mechanics of it. And I can just see, you know, they look at that and they go, what in the world?
If it helps, every author is probably on a government website.
Oh.
Our names. I've looked up some horrible things that even my wife's like, you gotta use incognito mode. She's like, I'm a teacher. She brings her laptop to work, and then she'll go to type in M and murder will come up. And I'm like, look, it's not my fault. I'm like, I've got to look up how to, you know, kill certain people in weird ways without
exactly. Oh gosh. We have writers have weird stuff bookmarked on their computers.
Yeah. I think for me, one of the weirdest things I ever looked up was like, I think it was about how much. It's probably not the weirdest. What's the weirdest thing I've ever looked up? The weirdest thing, as far as that, I don't think it's like something that, you know, the FBI would be arriving at my door for, but I looked up about keeping great white sharks in captivity and how long you could do that without like harming them.
Right.
And that was probably one of the weirder things I looked up, just because I'm like asking my wife, and she's like, why are you asking? Like, what are you writing? And I was just like,
what is that?
Writing a shark book. And that was a fun one. I learned a lot from doing that. But
well, you know, and I, you know, that's exactly what I did, was I had to look up all of these different things. For instance, one of the things that and I can't think of the actual name of it now, but you know, the organ in the cat's mouth where they smell.
Yeah.
Where they you know, when they stand there and they open their mouth a little bit, they're drawing that smell in, and it goes across this Jacob's organ across in the roof of their mouth, so that they can actually taste it, and then they just take it apart in their senses to figure out what it is. I mean, I got so much weird stuff. Cat positions. What do their ears say? If they're like this, what does this mean? If they're back like this, what does it mean? If they're like this, what does it mean? You know, or like that, what does it mean? Whiskers, they fan them out and then they lay them back, and then they kind of let them droop. So, you know, there's so much, like some of the stuff I had to change, like humanistic expressions, like how you might say, I just can't put my finger on that. They might use that expression in my book, but they would say, I just can't put my paw on that. I don't know what that is. You know, it just, it's right under the tip of my, or the tip of my tail, and I can't figure it out. So, like tail positions, when they're up like that, what does that mean? When they're down low like that, what does that mean?
Oh yeah.
All this stuff. So I had to actually, when I'm just describing them, I have to say, instead of saying they were mad, he laid his ears back against his skull and he fanned his whiskers out. He switched his tail back and forth, that kind of thing. So it's in the book, and I think a lot of people misunderstand me when I talk about this. My book, The Queen and the Tom, is like, oh, they're cats that they wear clothes and they act like humans. No, they do not do that. They're cats, but they're talking to each other in their own language and about things that they understand. So it's I mean, I hate to say it's kind of like Watership Down. It is, but it isn't, because mine's cats, not rabbits.
Oh, I always say every idea that we get comes from another idea of that somebody's already made. Because I'll get home from the movies and I'll tell my wife, I got a good idea for a book. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell her, she'll be like, that is like 100 movies we've seen and we've read. She's like, we just saw that. And I'm like, no, we saw this thing about like the last sale of the Demeter or something like that. It was
oh yes, I know exactly the one you're talking about, with the vampires on board. Yeah.
And I get home and a few weeks go by and I tell my wife, I'm like, I'm gonna make a vampire Dracula, kind of like my reimagining of Dracula. And I said it's gonna take place on a ship when there's a really bad storm. And she goes, we saw that a month ago. And I'm like,
last week.
I'm like, no, I really want to write that. I'm like, well,
that's interesting, because I saw someone talking about they put their, and you may have seen this, they put up 2 covers, and it was like a Little Red Riding Hood, and the person was talking about doing a retelling of of Little Red Riding Hood, and there was like Little Red Riding Hood in the front, but a very mature woman, and then the wolf behind her. And my first thought was, oh, well, is this going to be like a new twist on not only Little Red Riding Hood, but maybe a werewolf story? Maybe the werewolf morphs back and forth, and maybe and this might be a little weird, but maybe Little Red Riding Hood likes the wolf better than she likes the male. So I don't know. I mean, when I read it, I just went, oh, this could be interesting.
I've always told myself I'm never going to write something that's already been written. And then the more I tell myself that, I'm like, you already have.
Yeah. Well, there's very few original ideas out there.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, very few. I think one of the posts that I was responding to today was, what was the first horror book that you read? And I know I read horror before I read Stephen King's Carrie. I know I did. I had to have. But Carrie made such an impression on me about, the prom, telekinesis, and then becoming the prom queen, and her just destroying the entire thing, the school and what have you. But the way he wrote it, because he would tell the story and then he would put in parentheses like her internal thoughts.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy cow. Wow. That's amazing. I mean, it just kind of blew me away. I never thought about that. And it not only, you might not have an original idea for the book, but you might have an original idea of how you're going to write it out so that people, what people get out of it and what they perceive from it. So you just never know. You never know what it's going to initiate.
It's like it's got your signature on it, like your own style.
Yeah.
That, like somebody might want to write a book like The Shining, like something in a hotel. And even though it's been done before, you can write it and have like your own style to it. That's
Yeah.
completely different than Stephen King. Like, like the first book I ever read, I think, was Misery.
Yeah.
That's the from, as young as I can remember, that's the one that I loved reading and love watching the movie, to the point where my wife will come in the room and be like, watching this again, and I'm like, it's a classic.
Yeah.
And it's I don't know, it's like I watched and read Misery, and then next thing I knew, I was writing a book about this girl who has like an abusive, to like an abusive father, and then she finds this author who she falls in love with his books.
Mm-hmm.
So that whenever she's like locked in her room, she reads and like escapes her life because she's just locked in the book. And then
Right.
when she gets a little bit older, she ends up becoming in like the author's editor and moves in next door to him and becomes his best friend, and he doesn't realize she's out of her mind.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So, really obsessed with him. And I wrote that, and my wife said to me, "You don't know anything about women." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" And she goes, "You know nothing about women." She goes, "I'm gonna help you." And next thing I know, her and I pretty much wrote a book together, because
Cool.
she's like, so much stuff. She's like, "You don't know about women." And the book's like, I think 600 some pages now. It's
Oh,
literally
wow.
it's literally called The Woman. And that I have to thank Stephen King for, because if I had never read Misery,
You
I
wouldn't
would.
have come up with that.
Yeah, because I always loved the number one fan thing.
Right.
But I was like, how else can I turn it to where it's not copying him?
Right.
Because she doesn't like rescue him or anything from like his car in a crash.
Right.
And yeah, I just I love, that's what I love about like going and seeing a new movie. It's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
maybe I'll get an idea, and it'll become something else that nobody's ever heard of.
Right. Oh, bless you. Yeah,
Nothing.
I just read, and I believe that I read it before. I try to keep a list of books that I've read so I can go back and say, oh, have I read this one? Oh, yeah, I did. Let's not buy that one again. Let's put it back. But I read Colleen Hoover's Verity, and it has a really unique premise where this woman is offered a chance. She's a writer, and she doesn't like crowds. She's very introverted, and this famous author's husband hires her to finish his wife's books because she is in a coma at home.
Oh,
Okay. So while she's there looking through the desk, her notes, because she has to read all this stuff before she can actually finish these books. She's got 3 of them she's got to finish. She comes across this manuscript that's supposed to be biographical. And it's the wife who's in the coma upstairs. She's writing this story. And reading the story, the wife is the most narcissistic, self-centered individual ever. And she talks about how she lured the husband into marrying her, and that when she got pregnant, she didn't want to be pregnant, and she tried to abort the babies and all of this stuff. Anyway, and so it goes through all of these things. And so it goes from the timeline of this biographical story, and then the woman who's been hired to write the books. And as you go through it, toward the end of the book, you find out, well, the wife hasn't been in a coma at all. She's been pretending because she didn't know
oh,
not to tell her husband, and that the manuscript that they've been reading really isn't a biographical manuscript at all. It was an exercise that her editor gave her
oh, wow.
to to do this so that she could kind of turn the story around and kind of get into a different character's head. So convoluted. So at the end, you're just like, what did I just read?
Yeah.
Which one was it? Was she really that narcissistic character
Oh, I love
or
that.
not? So yeah, it was. So if your wife hasn't read that one,
Yeah.
recommend that one to her. It's Verity by Colleen Hoover.
Colleen Hoover. It's called what?
Verity.
Verity. Okay.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Verity.
Wait a minute. They're making a movie.
Yes, they are.
I just saw that. I went to see a movie tonight, and I saw that preview.
Yeah.
That looks good.
It's a twister. Then you can't tell your wife that you know something about it then.
Okay. That looks really good.
Yep.
Wow. I think Anne Hathaway is going to be in it.
I think you're right. I believe you are correct. And that ought to make it doubly good because she's pretty good. She's good.
Yeah.
Actress.
Oh, yeah. Verity. We just saw that preview.
Yeah,
that looks really good too.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of oh gosh, who was the author? But it was Girl on the Train.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know,
where you thought you knew the story, but you really didn't know the story.
Yeah, it's like Gone Girl.
Yes.
Oh, I was shocked when I watched Gone Girl. My wife said to me while we're watching it, and I was like, wait, that's what's going on? And she's like, you didn't know that? And it's like, no, she's like, I could have told you that. And she's like, just look how the husband acts with her being gone. And I was like, I wouldn't even have guessed.
Yeah, it was crazy. That was one of those too. I was like, oh, holy cow.
Oh yeah. Oh, I love it. Oh man, I could talk about books all night.
Oh, I could too. Yeah.
What is now your books are on Amazon or what platforms are they on?
They're on Amazon. You can look me up, Ashley Scott, or you can look up Corbin the Persistent and click on my author name there, and it'll take you to my author page, and it has all of my books there. I have some journals as well. And one of the things I'm also going to do is when I get this book, The Queen and the Tom, out, and it's coming out on August 11th, that I have a children's activity book based on that book. Okay. with Rudy and Kit and all these different characters from the book. So yeah, I'm on Amazon right now, and I'm on, and you can also find me on Goodreads.
Okay.
And then I also have my website, which is ashleyscottauthor.com.
Okay. Nice. I love it. A website. I'm currently working on my own as well. Oh, it's a lot of work.
Yeah, it is. Social platforms and social media and websites and Substacks and TikToks and book talks. Holy cow. Not enough hours in the day.
Oh no, never. Never. I love hearing about your books, and I'm definitely now taking an interest in cozy fantasies.
Well, I invite you to read them all. I think, and they're short. They're very short. They're little bitty short books. You can read them if
okay.
You take a few days, then that's fine. But they are an easy read, just a nice, easy afternoon read as well. Okay,
they're definitely on my to be read because those are really interesting. I got to see what those are like. Anyways, I could talk to you all night about this stuff. I love talking to people about these things. So much fun talking to other authors.
It is.
Well, yeah, thank you so much for your time, and I really appreciate you coming on here.
Oh, well, thank you, Rob, for having me. I'm like you. I can talk books all night.
Oh yeah.
But I know there's other things that have to get done.
Yeah, oh yeah. I've got a book I gotta finish writing before the end of summer. This should be up in the next day or two.
Okay.
Just so you know, because I know some people, well, they'll start emailing me. Oh my God, when's it up? But yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate you coming on here, everybody. Check out Ashley Scott's books on Amazon and Goodreads, And thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. I hope you have an excellent holiday weekend coming up, and
You
I
as well.
appreciate you having me on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep,
Bye-bye.
you have a good night. Bye.
Bye.